back to The Joy of Being You. My name is Michelle, and here I talk about all things manifestation, consciousness, occult, and whatever else falls in between. I like to reference a lot of Neville Goddard's teachings, but keep in mind I also think Neville Goddard's limited. Here I believe in robotic affirmation, visualization, and saturation to get what it is that you want in your life. So I'm going to read a passage from the book that I refer to and just going to move on with this video. And in my videos, I tend to relate to Catholicism, Christianity, the Bible, but truly all religions are the same when looking at the human body from the lens of understanding manifestation. I'm pretty sure, what is it? Is it Judaism, Catholicism, and is it Islam or being Muslim? I always mix those up, but they all stem from the Old Testament, and for whatever reason, they all argue and say, oh no, their God is right. That in itself is ridiculous. A majority of religions reference their third eye. You know, Catholics will say the name of the Father, name of the Son. Then you have the Jewish people with the black box, and the black box has a prayer on it that says, oh, we're connected to God. And guess where they put that? In the center of their forehead. Hindus have a red dot. When people pray, they put their head to the ground and they make sure their forehead is touching the ground, facing the direction of whatever it is they worship, whether it's a black box, the sun, a planet, I don't even know. When you do a deep dive in religion, they're all referencing your freaking third eye, which is your imagination and your connection to God. And if we could just sit down and recognize that for 1 second, we could prevent a majority of the war that's going on right now. Even though there's a war, in Iran, and then also Ukraine, and whatever other wars are going to create just to destroy things and create a new world order, because that's the whole agenda at hand. I'm pretty sure also on the dollar bill, that's what it says in Latin, is New World Order. So enjoy that rabbit hole. But what I want to get at is literally everything we're indoctrinated to believe is different or separated is a complete lie. They do that to divide and conquer. They do that on a macro level with nations and a micro level with families. If you destroy the family unit within, there's no community, and they're easy to control because they don't have a tribe to connect to. Back when tribalism was a dominant state of existing, you couldn't fuck with another tribe because they could kill you. That they had a whole community. The same goes for countries. When you have a whole community with the same mindset, you really can't control them. And that's why they do what they do now. Whether it's through TV, social media, they indoctrinated us to believe certain narratives based on whatever they believe is the left and the right, to have opposing views, so that we fight with each other and we do not question the authority that's creating it in the first place. Because then when you question the authority, they start saying, oh shit, we're being caught, and they fall apart, and then a new dynasty continues or whatever. Maybe not all the time, but generally that's like always the tactic at play is divide and conquer, distract, and whatever. Have everyone else self-implode so they don't have to do the job of doing it. Sorry, I'm thirsty. But basically, all religions say, they're saying the same thing but differently. Would you accuse someone who speaks French that says bonjour is wrong compared to someone who speaks Spanish and says hola? No, that would be ridiculous because they're both saying hi. So why do we do that with religion? With the people who are Hindu and have the bindi, or the Catholics that say in the name of the Father, or the Jewish people that have the black box by their forehead with the prayer in it. They're all connecting to their third eye. Why is it that with language we can say, oh no, it's the same thing, but when it comes to religion, it's like, oh God, there's all these gods. There's not. The only God is your focus. What are you claiming to be today? I am what? I am wealthy, I am poor, I'm ugly, I'm irresistible, I'm handsome, I'm beautiful. What are you claiming? That is your God, because that creates your state, and your state creates your reality because that becomes your expression. And what you express into the world will then get mirrored back to you. When they say mind over matter, it's quite literally, here, let me erase this really quick. It's that way. Whoops, I dropped my eraser because I'm so passionate. Matter. Right? It's like, oh, apply yourself, think hard, and shit will happen and it'll be fixed, right? That's a saying. Oh, my eraser's long gone, huh? That's okay, I'll just use my hand. When you say it and write it in English, it's like, yeah, it's a metaphor. But when you really write it out the way it's supposed to be intended, you do mind over matter. Meaning your third eye, your freaking mind, creates matter, the physical plane. So this explains heaven is first, which is in your mind, on the physical plane, on earth, as it is in heaven. Ta-da! That's the parable. All religions tell you that, but for whatever reason, we fight over who's saying it best. And that's ridiculous. That's childish. And that's what they want us to behave as, is complete belligerent children like Lord of the Flies. So, you know, there you go. Sorry my calluses are gross. Can't really see them, whatever, it's fine. Anyway, all religions are saying the same thing. They're talking about consciousness, and at least in the lens of the human body, that is my focus. I also do believe scripture tells us about the world and its makeup and gives us hints as to how this world operates, but that's not what my channel focuses on. Okay, that's better. So I'm gonna read this simple passage from Neville Goddard, The Complete Collection. I also have a link on Amazon if you want to follow along. This book helped me manifest out of my surgery. It helped me heal my eating disorder, a lot of different things that I didn't understand. And it broke down Neville's teachings to like common sense terminology from like this modern day and just made it so much easier. So I highly, highly recommend it. You don't need to, but it's just a suggestion. So check it out. It's in my description. So this passage says, your awareness is the power of the word. Again, yes, not yesterday, before when I said, what is the state you're claiming? Are you wealthy? I am wealthy. Are you poor? I am poor. Your word is claiming the state that you exist in. Choose wisely. It is divine, not divisional. There are not two I ams, but one I am standing on many levels. Meaning, you can't just have, I am successful, I am poor, I am beautiful, I am ugly. You can't be all of them. You have one I am that is what creates your physical human experience. And when you choose a different state or different word, you can go up or below that baseline of neutrality depending on what words you use. So obviously above would be positive words like I am loving, I am deserving, I am royalty, I am wealthy, okay? Those are positive affirmations you're claiming from that one state of identity, which is I am. It's I am and fill in the blank, okay? Desire, claiming fulfillment now, wrestles as Jacob. This is the Bible verse where Jacob is wrestling with an angel throughout the night, and then finally the angel like lets up, and then Jacob is renamed Israel. There's a reason for that, and I'll explain why. But when the fight is over desire, as Israel is born. You may think your name is John Brown or Mary Smith, but our real name is I am, and your dominant mood is your nature. So when you say, I am poor, how does that make you feel? You don't have to try to think of a feeling, or you don't have to feel or force a feeling rather. It is just, what do you feel when you say the word poor? It's not good. Your heart kind of constricts and your throat tightens a little bit, you know, if you really try to focus on that word. If you say, I am the most incredibly desired human being in this entire room, and that's how it always will be, and that's how it will always remain. I mean, that's wordy. You know, you should just use something very basic because your subconscious will kind of like fall asleep to it. It's like, just say one thing over and over and over again. Say, I am the most attractive person. I am so attractive. I am so attractive. I am so attractive. Just keep repeating like affirmations that are like 4 to 6 words long. You can do longer, but I find it's a lot easier to get more repetitions in, which then creates that neural pathway in your brain for then you to accept that as your new state or identity, and then for you to experience that in the physical plane by somebody mirroring back to your self-concept. I do this all the time. I go to the bar and I say, I'm the most attractive person here. And you watch the eyes looking at you from both men and women. I don't know what they're thinking. They're thinking what I want them to think. That's how you have to show up every day. Is it true? Is it not true? You have to be convinced that what you think is what will happen to you. And the more you show up confident, knowing exactly what it is you want to experience, you waver less and you watch your manifestations happen more and more and more. Because you're claiming the I am state every single day, as opposed to just chalking it up to, oh, coincidence. Or, that always just happens to me. It can't possibly just be my self-concept. It's like, no. When you take this as a matter of fact of what word you choose to claim as who you are every single day, you then experience that thing. You have a multitude of I ams you can be, but it stems from one power. It's what is your focus thinking of in this moment, and what word are you claiming to attach onto that sentence? And if you want to keep attaching I am rich to that, okay, keep saying it. And then watch what you start doing. You start doing things without thinking, and that's the whole point. Don't make it more complicated than it is. You can either think things, right? I'll think of a pink elephant right now, okay? I'm thinking of a pink elephant because I'm forcing that thought. But then meanwhile, in the background, after 2 seconds of me finishing that thought, something will say, go into the kitchen and check the knobs on the stove. And if I look, it'll be like the stove is something I left on by accident. That's the difference between forcing a thought and intuition. It's very easy to tell when you're controlling your thoughts and when thoughts are being given to you. And when thoughts are being given to you, guess what that is? Is your God power that is in resonance of the state you're claiming, which is your I am state. I am rich, all of a sudden I feel like looking into the stock market. Go at it, invest in nuclear or whatever it is you want to do and watch that pop off, okay? It's a bridge of incidents. So different ideas will come to you dependent on different states you're in. If you're not used to being in a positive state that gives you abundance, chances are you're going to feel a lot of resistance towards that thing. When you focus on I am wealthy and you have limiting beliefs in the past, I don't care how impossible it feels for you to be wealthy dependent on your current circumstances. Tell yourself, I make plenty of money, I'm safe. I make plenty of money, I'm safe. And repeat these things. Someone will come up to you, you'll be offered a job, something has to happen in order to meet you where you're at in your subconscious. And that's where we go back to your mind creates matter. And don't forget that. Okay? So Jacob, his name becomes Israel. And Israel is stemmed from the 3 Egyptian gods, Isis, Ra, and Elohim. And you know how earlier I said all religions are saying the same thing, that like everyone's one, like consciousness is the power of manifestation. Notice how the Jewish people took the word Israel and they made it from another religion from the Egyptian time period and used their gods. They're recycling the same thing but saying it's Jewish. I don't care what the name of your country is. It means absolutely nothing. But the more people you can convince that a God is outside of them, the more that they will obey whoever is issuing that decree, which is the Vatican or the churches, the huge Baptist churches, I think, or whatever they call them, when it's like a cult. When something turns into a cult, you better believe they want your attention for a reason, and it's not for your benefit. When you believe in a God that's outside of you, that is more powerful than human law, like, government law. However, a human is decreeing what God is saying because they're receiving that information for some reason and you can't. That is a huge psyop. The Pope is no saint. And if you see that Pope Benedict was buried in red shoes and had a black eye, I mean, you can read between the lines. These people are not special. We are all born creators, and they want you to think that there's a different level of hierarchy because of the stupid titles they create for themselves that they give meaning to. And because you believe in that meaning, it makes you feel lower. Do not subscribe to that. You are so much more than that. And they are so much less than that because they crave your attention. And when someone craves attention, they are so desperate and feel so much lack. No one in power actually has genuine control. Genuine control comes from peace of the mind. And if you want to control people, you are a narcissist and have no peace of mind. You are out of control. That's why a lot of people don't want powers of authority, because they understand it takes responsibility. Anyone with common sense understands that logic. But anyone desperate for attention and power doesn't care. And that's why they get into those positions. Also because every industry is bought out, but that's besides the point. Anyone who prays successfully is himself the springboard of action and the one who grants the prayer. There's no other being to grant it. The one who receives the answered prayer is the one who grants it through the act of rearranging the mind. There's no God you pray to and you're like, oh my God, please heal me from my autoimmune issue. I have no idea what's going on. That was me. I was doing that for years on end, blindly praying, until I recognized that my thoughts create my reality. My thoughts were making me ill and were undiagnosable. How do you explain that? You can't. Doctors didn't understand it. And the one thing that healed me was getting better. When you pray to the God within you, that's when you go into the closet and shut the door. And scripture says that often. And it's because you pray to the Father in secret. In the name of the Father, you're touching your forehead. That's consciousness. That's your connection to source, right? You shouldn't ask for signs and symbols to see if your prayer is being answered or something like that. That's something that also kind of grinds my gears. Is like the spiritual community is like, oh my God, I saw 11:11. That means my love is coming back to me. Yay. Oh my God, Lionsgate portal. It just means true love is on its way. It's like, shut up. No. How many Lionsgate portals have happened in the past and nothing happened to you? But because all of a sudden now you know about it, you're focusing your attention on that as a placebo effect to then create your experience. Meanwhile, true love is always accessible at every single day, so long as you choose to want to have it. Do you want a boyfriend? Do you want a girlfriend? Do you want to be married? Then why do you keep claiming that no one is for you? How many times have you repeated that throughout the years? How many times have you repeated that affirmation? Understand, each time you repeat an affirmation, it becomes a new identity to your subconscious. And the more you program it and make it who you are, the harder it is for you to remove it. Because you keep plastering yourself with that self-concept. So of course you're going to be met with resistance with people who show you the opposite of what you want because you feel so much lack. If you say you are unloving, of course the world has to prove to you as a mirror that you are unlovable. That is your choice. God does not discriminate. God is universal power. You are God. You have this power. You don't know you have it. And the reason why you don't know you have it is because it's very powerful. The people in power don't want you to know you have it, because if you knew you had it since the day you were born, you wouldn't need them. And look at Jesus. Since the day he was born, sheep visited him. In an allegory, what that means is only divine thoughts were able to bless him when he was first awake, when he was first born, when he was first conceptualized as a physical entity. If you were in that state ever since you were a kid, you could then make a blind man see and a dumb man hear. Some woman would be able to touch your garment and then heal herself of her blood disease, because those are also passages in scripture too. All that means is when you are so convinced of who you are, things will happen immediately. But you have to know who you are, and you have to wake up to your power. An example for me, this is 18 minutes, but I'll give a couple manifestation success stories of mine. Not too long ago, I'm very much enjoy nature, and I like going hiking and different things like that. And I can get incredibly close to animals because I just love it. I don't think anything of it. Throughout the years, I've seen really beautiful things, and I document them as well. And now that I'm much more awake than I used to be, I try to practice new things all the time to remind myself of my power and to create the world I want to experience. So I tell myself, I'm Snow White. Animals love me. Animals love seeing me. Animals love approaching me. They feel safe around me. I get the best pictures of animals because I just like it. It's just part of who I am. And when I went to the beach, I saw throughout my week, maybe like 30 dolphins. It was nuts. They were flipping around, different sizes, little ones, big ones. It was beautiful. I also then saw, I don't think it's a conch shell because I think that's in the Caribbean. But I saw a version of it, and many of them wash up on the shore, and I put them back in the ocean. Never seen that before, but I thought it was incredible. What else did I see? Oh, I was in a parking lot and I saw 3 rabbits chasing each other, running in circles, jumping over each other. It was the cutest thing. I had also seen one of the coolest things that had never happened to me before. I was sitting next to my brother and we were just hanging out by the beach, and over our heads flew a bald eagle. It couldn't have been more than like 60 feet up, 70 feet up. It was wildly close, where you could see the color of the beak and the feet and the white head and the body so clearly. Isn't that a cool experience? If you love animals, that's a cool thing to decree. You'll get really close to deer. Chipmunks and birds won't run away as much because you're just in a focused state of knowing what you are. And if you keep decreeing that thing, they will have to comply to your resonance. So I didn't explain Isis, Ra, and Elohim too well, but those are, again, the Egyptian gods. The reason why Jacob wrestles with the angel is because Jacob is wrestling with a divine thought. Much like you, when your subconscious is receiving new information, you are wrestling with that higher vibe identity. Let's say you're very poor and you're like, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich. Those are your affirmations. That is you wrestling with an angel. Your neural pathway of being so negative about your finances has been established for years, if not decades. Now all of a sudden you're trying to change it. There's going to be resistance because it's not familiar. However, the more you wrestle and do not give up, you will then, I don't want to say defeat the angel, but conquer the resistance. And Jacob wrestles with the angel at night. Night refers to your subconscious. So when you look at that, you're trying to install divine thoughts into your subconscious. You're forcing it, you're wrestling with it. And then when it becomes the morning, all is well, and he is renamed Israel, which goes back again to the Egyptian gods, Isis, Ra, and Elohim. Isis is the feminine principle of the mind or the subconscious. Ra is the god of the sun, which is your actual ego and your conscious awareness. And Elohim is both of those gods in one. So it just implies like God on earth or God embodiment. Or Elohim also can translate to El. And when you look at all of the archangels, there's Raphael, Michael, Ezekiel, Uriel. El, going back to what El is, El just means God or divine power. So when you have Ezekiel, Michael, Raphael, they represent different types of divine power within them. And that's why they're the angels, because those are the angles of light that you have the potential to be, right? That's all it is. Angels are angles of light, Els. And we're all Els, we're all angels. To an extent, I mean, I don't really dive into the fallen angel argument very much because I don't really believe in it, I guess. But we're all fallen angels because we're on earth and heaven is above and heaven is void of the physical body. So to be a fallen angel is no different than being tied to your mind and your ego. And when you ascend above it, then you become like Christ. And Christ derived, I believe, from the word chrism. And chrism is the holy oil that goes down your spine when you're in meditation. From, I believe, your pineal and pituitary gland. So when you see, this is all referencing the human anatomy and the experience you have when you have an awakening. It's not all about religion, but just your biological right to be a creator here on Earth. So if you enjoyed that video, I'd really appreciate if you would support me. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe if this has helped you in any way. Check out my links below. I have an esoteric merch shop, as well as an Etsy, a children's book about consciousness, and a TikTok, as well as a Pinterest, and probably a couple other things. Oh, an Amazon store too. If you want to check out the things that have helped me and just like stuff I buy, because I don't know, if you jive with my information, then maybe you will jive with the things that I purchase. I don't know. Check it out though, if it feels like it might be in alignment with you. Either way, regardless, thank you for watching everything and giving me your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.